Today, I'd like to talk about some common myths that I hear and a little bit of information as to why they're not necessarily based on facts. First of all, why should we separate food facts from fiction? False reports are everywhere, just like rumors in tabloids. But unfortunately, when it comes to food, that misinformation could cause dangerous results. So let's base some information on the facts that I've commonly heard lately. First of all, low carb diets don't work. Not necessarily true, but let's look at the work part of it. Excluding carbohydrates will result in weight loss if the foods that were previously consumed were consumed in excess portions. Low carb diets may cause weight loss, and that weight loss has many benefits, including decreasing blood pressure, decreased risk factors for heart disease, and even decreased pain in the joints. Again, all of those due to the weight loss, not necessarily how the weight was lost. Success is related to the intake of the carbohydrates prior to avoiding them again. So, therefore, if you had a half a plate of pasta or rice and suddenly you took that out of your diet, even if you increased your protein source a little bit more, as okay with the low carb diets, and you had more non starchy vegetables, which are lower in calorie than, say, your carbohydrate rich corn and potatoes, then those lower calories are going to result in a lower calorie intake over an entire day. Unfortunately, once those carbohydrates are reintroduced, it can be difficult to maintain those results. Therefore, with weight gain, the weight cycling of gaining and losing weight is more detrimental to your health over time than staying at a weight that might be 10, 15, or 20 pounds overweight, but making healthy choices. Another one that's common is avoiding gluten. Celiac disease is a condition that's very severe, and people need to avoid gluten in this situation. But it only affects about 1% of the population. Gluten sensitivity is a bit more common, with 6 to 8% of the population diagnosed with this. You can find out if this is a condition you have by doing some allergy testing. But everyone should avoid refined grains. Inflammation is directly related to the gluten connection in that refined carbohydrates like white bread, white rice, white pasta, things made with enriched flour have been linked to inflammation, and gluten is found in all of those items. When inflammation continues over time, it can result in many chronic conditions. So instead, choose a variety of whole grains that are gluten free, such as quinoa, oats, rice, and corn. Fasting will result in weight loss. Intermittent fasting is big right now, and that involves restricting calories just to a specific time frame each day. For example, only eating in an 8-hour period. So, say from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. is when you're going to consume all your calories. Individuals attribute weight lost during this diet to restriction of just the specific time frame, not related to what is consumed. But ultimately, many people eat in excess of their daily dietary needs because of mindless snacking or boredom, ignoring hunger and fullness cues. And by following a specific meal pattern, that way you're planning your meals to the extent that you know you're going to fit them in only during a certain time of day, and you're less likely to overeat when you're not hungry. Overall, following a structured time frame involving meal planning can manage calories and ideally can also promote positive nutrition choices. Artificial sweeteners are free and no problem. They are calorie free, but doesn't mean they're risk free. Artificial sweeteners affect your gut health. It interrupts the good flora and bacteria in the gut. It also affects cravings. Studies show that using artificial sweeteners can actually increase cravings for other sweet foods, not necessarily the nutrient dense kind. It can also alter your palate. If you stay accustomed to really overly sweet taste of artificial sweeteners, then when you have something that's naturally sweetened like a strawberry or even just a low amount of carbohydrates or sweet flavor like a carrot, it's less enticing. Your body isn't craving those things anymore. It's used to something that's a lot more concentrated in this sweet flavor. And then also many sweeteners can elicit an insulin response even though there's no sugar present in the item. High amounts of circulating insulin then prompts the body to store fat. So how can you spot a nutrition myth? These were just a few examples. Some of them eliminated food groups, some of them were very specific, and they also can apply the same rules to all people. Everyone will have success with this item, but it doesn't talk about the types of people that could be affected. It promises results. Well, will the results be long term? That's one thing that isn't indicated or known for sure. And a lot of these myths are due to focusing on one food group or one specific food. So, how do you find the facts? First of all, look to see if what you're following and what information you have is based on research. And does that research even include an author? That would mean it proves willingness to defend the information presented. There may even be a contact information. Does it have a date? If something that you're reading comes from the 1990s, there's been a lot of emerging research since then and a lot of studies done. So try to find something within the last 5, maybe 10 years that can still be relevant for your purpose. Look for the sources. How did they get their information? Were there certain websites used or books? Did they base them on scholarly articles and research against was it evidence based? Look at the domain. If you're searching online, some domains such as .com, .org, and even .net can actually be purchased and used by any individual. So look for results with the domain .edu or .gov. Those denote heavily researched and ideally neutrally funded information obtained from colleges and universities, or .gov is from a government site. This plate that you're seeing is one example that was done by the Harvard School of Public Health. And there's information on there that's different from even the My Plate that the general population uses for education. If anything, it's one prompt to say, wait a minute, what's different here? Why is that? And I want to learn more. And ultimately, talk to professionals. Speaking of which, did you know that Amway has 2 registered dietitians on staff? And you can have free consultations with us. All employees, their spouses, dependents, and retirees are able to use this great benefit. So please give us a call, send us an email, and let's schedule an appointment today. We're flexible with time to meet your needs. Thanks so much for watching this